Steve, you ready to go? Mr. Kazmark, call the meeting to order.
Mayor, I'd like to call this meeting of February 5th, 2009 of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park to order. On roll call, council members: Catamagna? Present. Castiglia? Here. Conboy? Here. McLaughlin? Here. Trowinski? Here. Bonsino? Here. Mayor Mola?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting with we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231, the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey, requires at the commencement of each meeting a statement by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record and the Herald News, and by posting such a notice in the office of the Borough Clerk as well as in the public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2009. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being taped to be viewed on the Cablevision, channel 77. It'll be on Tuesday at 2 p.m., Wednesday at 12 noon, and Friday at 2:30 p.m. These are dates that we submit to Cablevision, and they pick one of the 3 dates out or 2 days out, whatever is left. We're trying to get at least one day in the evening if possible, but they have some very stringent rules we have to follow. It can't be mailed before the day it's supposed to be mailed. It can't be mailed the day after. It has to be mailed on that day. So whichever organizations put in to use the public access, those are the times we get. We've been fortunate enough to get 3 dates. We'll try again for one evening. At this time, I would like to ask our police chief to come forward, and 2 of our police officers are going to be honored tonight. Would you please come forward and stand here for me? Well, before they come forward, Chief, would you read the information we have? We're honoring 2 of our police officers for a very special act that they performed in an accident.
This is written by your Lieutenant Sabat, who's the commander of that shift. So I'll read what he has said about the 2 officers. On January 19, 2009, at 0740 hours, Officer Shad Giacomaro and Officer Mike Prelick responded to a report of a motor vehicle accident in the area of River Drive and Route 4, eastbound in Elmwood Park. Upon their approach, they observed both vehicles with massive front-end damage, and both vehicles were facing south in the southbound lane of traffic. At this time, the officers rushed to the vehicles to determine the extent of the injuries of all parties in the vehicles. As the officers were assessing the scene, Officer Giacomaro approached a Nissan Rogue vehicle, which was being driven by Jody Muka. He was attempting to cut the side airbag to gain entry to the vehicle. Patrolman Prelick observed flames coming from the engine compartment of the Nissan. As the officers attempted to free Mrs. Muka from the vehicle, the engine compartment became fully engulfed in flames, and she was trapped inside the vehicle. Patrolman Prelick ran to the back of the vehicle and was able to force open the rear hatch to the vehicle. He then climbed over the rear seat of the vehicle and was able to pull the victim from the front seat to the rear of the vehicle. He was pulling her from the vehicle as flames were coming out of the dashboard and air vents of the vehicle. The passenger compartment was filling up with heavy smoke, making it difficult to breathe or see inside the vehicle. The officer pulled the victim to safety and secured her in his marked patrol car. Patrolman Giacomaro then ran to the other vehicle, which was situated next to the now engulfed vehicle. He then climbed into the driver's seat of the vehicle and pulled the driver, Joyce Quackenbush, who was thrown into the passenger seat due to the accident, to safety prior to her vehicle catching fire. An unknown citizen stopped and assisted Officer Giacomo with Mrs. Quackenbush, and they carried her to his patrol unit for safety. At this time, the Elmwood Park Fire Department arrived on scene and proceeded to extinguish the fire. The officers started to administer first aid to the injured and continued until the paramedics and an ambulance arrived. At this time, they turned over the care of the injured to the EMTs. The officers then resumed to the investigation process of the accident and clearing the scene. Patrolman Giacomo and Prelic should be commended for their professionalism, dedication, and superior work ethic in the handling of this incident. These officers did not hesitate in sacrificing their lives or safety when their calling came. They performed as heroes this day, and due to their quick thinking and outstanding performance, saved the lives of 2 victims. These officers take great pride in wearing the uniform of the Elmwood Park Police Department, and it was displayed notably on January 19th, 2008. I would like to add just one other thing to this. Sometimes people forget that, you leave your house. We all do, every day. Our wives, our kids, or your husbands. And we go to work. Some people don't even work that far, and people forget that most of the accidents that occur that are sometimes fatal are near our homes. It's not always on highways and things like that. In this case, it was a freak accident. We read about them every day. Freak accidents, people killed on the highways, on roadways, cars are turned over. They don't have to be going very fast. And I don't think people realize in a vehicle fire, it doesn't really sound that bad like a house, but a vehicle, is very small, it's hard to get out of, and there's a lot of fuel inside there, fuel lines, electric lines, a heated motor, and they catch pretty quick. And firemen and officers who have responded on these fires, you realize they go up very, very fast. So it's actually worse, and before it's over, our captain wants to show a picture on the wall of what it looked like. For those people who haven't seen the Chopper, it's really edifying to understand what happens in a vehicle, the dynamics of a vehicle fire. It goes up fast, and there's not much left, and people die. It's just like in plane crashes, most people die from the fire, not from the crash. So these officers definitely should be commended for this. And I know that them, along with any other officer, doesn't hesitate to go in there. And in the back of your mind is that, you may not get out yourself, but, we're never going to give up trying to pull somebody out of there. And I think that's something that has to be kept in mind.
Thank you. May I ask Officer Michael Prelic to come forward, and Officer Sergio Camaro. I have a certificate for both of you. Come here, please. With their name, Officer Michael Prelic, who on January 19, 2009, helped save the lives of 2 women from an automobile accident. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Great job. Nice work, Good job, congratulations.
I'd just like to again congratulate both officers, especially since one of the ladies involved in the accident is Joyce Quackenbush, who has been a close friend of mine and many people on the council for 30, 40 years or more. So it's to their good deed, their heroism, and their responsibility to the police department and to the community that they're both alive and recuperating at this time. So gentlemen, once again, thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it. I would also like to indicate that since the police chief did come up and sit right in the seat of our clerk, we're going to talk about $3 off the clerk's salary,
Don't get
but
too
the police
comfortable.
chief is not going to be getting additional salary for sitting there. At this time, I would like to again turn the council meeting over to our police chief. He has a presentation from our police department and some of the activities that are performed for those who are here. The video will attempt to get any slides that may be put on the screen or whatever, but we don't know how much that's going to work out. So let's see where we can go on it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Chief Ingrassalino?
Thank you, Mayor.
If we turn the lights off, everything goes off. It's one switch for the entire,
I get the light?
it's that switch there. I feel like Margaret Thatcher here.
Nice setting. Might do this every week, right?
Okay. If you want, the light switch for the whole room is right there. No, that one, yes, on the right.
It's a fancy lamp you got there, Keith. Lowe's?
I bought that lamp myself, just so you know.
Goodwill.
Did you really?
That must be for the mayor.
Chief's office, I think. It's going out.
Just real quick, this is actually the vehicle, if you can see it, and what was left of the vehicle after the fire.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was pretty serious. It wasn't just a couple of little flames of smoke. That's what was left, and that's where the victim was sitting, right there.
Wow.
And that's where the officers had to face, so, yeah, that's what's left of the steering wheel. So it's something we, I know we don't see too often, but fortunately. What we do is, once a year, we present our report for the year of the police department's annual report. What we're proud to do tonight is to actually just give you a brief synopsis to the council and to our residents and everybody attending tonight to let you know what we actually did this year and what we've accomplished. There's a report, which I believe every councilman should have. Right, Keith?
Yes.
And that's, a little long. We're just going to highlight a couple of things quickly for everybody. Promise it won't be too long. Basically, it's our mission. Mission of Elmwood Park Police Department is to provide high-level public safety, utilizing best protocols to ensure safety and welfare of the residents while integrating cost efficiency. This is the actual chart. You can see it's from 2002 till the end of 2008 of everything that happened in Elmwood Park. And I just want to highlight a couple of things of interest. First of all, of course, as you see, we've had you can see 3 homicides up there, but 0 in 08. But if you look at the robberies, we've had 8 robberies in Elmwood Park last year. That is a new record low for Elmwood Park in the last 30 years. Can you get rid of that box? Because we used to average anywhere from 25 to 30. We had 8 last year. Later on in the slides, when you'll see our violent crime rate. Our violent crime rate is made up of robberies, rapes, homicides, and those types of crimes, aggravated assault, and you add them together, and you get the crime rate. Our main mission has been to try to lower our violent crime rate, and I'm going to show you in a little while that we actually lowered it, and it's actually the lowest it's ever been in Elmwood Park, at least in the last 30 years, if not longer. One of the reasons is you can see those robberies, and the robberies that we did have, actually, most of those occurred during the commissions of shoplifting where force was used either on a police officer or on store personnel. So even though at one time we were battling robberies on the street, we haven't had any. And the 8 that you see are only those types of robberies, Pathmark and things like that, where somebody was shoplifting and they used force on the way out and they were charged with robbery. So that 8 is actually, if you remove those, would even be lower. And if you can see, we had 20, 27. Some years prior to that, we had 30, 35. 8 is a new record for Elmwood Park. Burglary is 56. And you can see that's at the very low end of the spectrum for us. And I think that's pretty good in a year's time. Auto theft, the only reason auto theft is high, Mark Howe reported this year a bunch of thefts for their tractor trailers. Unfortunately, they didn't find out that many of them were missing for 5 years. So I think there was 15 or 18 that were thefts from Mark Howe's. If you take those out of there, we're also on the low end, actually, of about 30. Our calls for service, meanwhile, went up, so we are busier, but not in the area of street crimes, which we're proud of. We've stopped that. Drunk driving, you can see 182, started off with 36, that used to be our average. We had 182 DWI arrests. We're actually number 8 in the state of New Jersey. And we're number 2 in Bergen County, only second to the Bergen County Police. And that's pretty much one of their main missions. Motor vehicle summonses, 14,201. You can see back in 2002 we did, which was our average for several years, was in the 6,000s. More than double, almost triple, at 14,200. And juvenile cases, that's important too. If you look at it, we had anywhere from 200 to 300 juvenile cases. We put a resource officer in the school. We've been very proactive in that area. We had 97, and that's great because, I'm sure everybody reads about juvenile crime and what's going on in the school system, what's going on in the streets every place. Patterson, right next door. Well, 97 cases, that's a lot lower than we've ever had before, and that's also reflected in our numbers and in our crime rate going down. Next one. I'm actually very proud of this. And if you look, this is Elmwood Park's crime statistics, our violent crime. In 2003, at 2.6, we certainly weren't the highest, but it was something we were concerned about. We wanted to bring that down. And you can see it's been going progressively down with a lot of the things we've been doing with the police department. In 2008, the lowest, like I said, we just broke under that number 1. We've never, ever, that I can remember, and I did the checking with the state police, a lot of this stuff's online on the UCRs. I don't believe we've ever been able to get it that low. We have this year. Tom? Here's a comparison of violent crime statistics this is from the state police. If you look at the first one, it says Group 4. That's municipalities all over New Jersey that are our size, 15,000 to 25,000 people in the town. That's a Group 4 municipality, that's us. And you see that's just a little bit above 2. Bergen County, and that's all 70 towns, including the little towns up north, we averaged a 1.1, which is still higher than Elmwood Park. Passaic County is way high, and you can see why. Right next door is Patterson, which is next door to us, at almost 10, meaning that 10 people are victims of crime out of 1,000. Pretty high. And of course, the problem for us is it's next door, but you can see we made a lot of inroads. Clifton also, the other towns are all the towns that border Elmwood Park. Clifton, Garfield, Fairlawn, and Saddle, but Clifton's up there at almost 3. Elmwood Park, just under 1. And you got Garfield's at about 2 plus. Fairlawn's even a little higher than us, and they were always lower than us. Saddlebrook's the only town in the area that's actually a little lower than us. And of course, they're not next to any major cities, and they're not a Group 4 municipality. A Group 5 or 3, whatever it is, I think there's about 12,000 people there. So? Just to show you something that our municipal court finds, we've been tracking that, 300% increase since 2001. It also correlates, as we'll show you here, what the amount of summonses issued. So that's what we brought in, over 800,000, closing on 900,000. If you go back to 2001, we were at about 275. So you can see it's been going progressively up. And I think, thanks to Officer Pellick, it's jumped up this year to almost 900. We were hoping for $1 million, but he said he comes to work a little harder next year. And here's the two graphs, if you could see them, they correlate pretty closely, is our summons counts, and next to it is the actual court revenue, and this is actual dollars turned over to the town. This is our share, which offsets taxes. So that near $1 million that we brought in, and you know, our main purpose is not to generate revenue, of course, but it is a byproduct. And by being aggressive, and this is everything. This is tickets, arrests, all the fines that are brought in, and this is the part that's actually turned over to the borough. This is not the money turned over to the state. This is our money, nearly $1 million. Thanks, Mike. The other thing that we've done to keep our costs down for the police department, grants and seizures, forfeitures, we've been aggressive through our narcotics arrests, working with the federal government, and also asking for several things that we've actually qualified for. As you can see, a lot of it's drunk driving funds, it pays for overtime, different arrests from the state, federal government, federal share or narcotics. These are all the things, and this is also a new record for us. A lot of the reasons we got this is because we've been aggressive in the past, so they've been, the state and the federal government's been awarding us, and this is what we brought in, $261,000. This all actually offset expenditures. We bought our new breathalyzer machine, $13,000. Then, of course, the taxpayers a dime. It was what drug dealers paid for that, so we thank them. And the $261,000 is the total with our grants and everything that we were able to bring in offset taxes this year. This is a little saying that actually one of a realtor in town had put on a brochure one time, and I kind of stole it from him. But I think it says what we just showed you. On parks, so officer quieter, safer atmosphere to raise a family. And I think that's what it's about. I know everybody on the council there that I've talked to, you know, we're about family. We're about our families, our friends live in our town. And that's what the police department is about. We're trying to make it a better place to live, certainly safer. So I'll tie that back into what I just said. You know, the crime rate, I'm really proud about this. This is something we've been trying to do for years. A few things that we've done, we've changed our patrol patterns, but we have more officers on the road, we have more visibility, and we have a narcotics squad. We make a lot of arrests. As you can see, the tickets reflect all that. But the bottom line is this is what we've been trying to accomplish. And to get it under that 1.0, I think that's a big accomplishment. And, you know, and I thank every one of our personnel and our officers that have been out there, and I think it's been a team challenge, and I think we've done it. And I'm happy to report that to the mayor and council, and I wish everybody a good night.
Good job, Ben.
Thank you very much, Chief. We appreciate the work that the police accomplishes here in our community, and you've done an excellent job this year and last year in getting that crime rate down. We appreciate that. One of the things I do want to mention, it seems like we're getting a substantial amount of money for the tickets that are given out. Keep in mind that the state gets half that. We get, if it's 800,000, we get 800,000, they get 800,000. So there's a lot of tickets that are being given out. We're not just trying to hold our tax rate down. The state takes its share. In fact, some of the tickets that are given out, all of it goes to the state. So, but we're trying the best we can. Thank you. Mr. Kazmark, would you proceed with the agenda?
Mayor, tonight on the agenda under minutes, we have the executive session of January the 15th, 2009, the regular meeting of January 22nd, 2009, the executive session of January 22nd, 2009, and the special budget work meeting of January 29th, 2009.
May I have a motion for all four of them, please?
Mayor, for the executive session on the...
May I have a motion for all four?
Self-moved.
So moved by Mr. McLaughlin. Second by Mr. Convoy. Any comments?
Yeah, sorry about that, Mayor. I'm going to abstain on the 15th because I was not in attendance.
Mr. Clerk, will you mark that an abstention on the 15th of January?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else miss any of those meetings? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Chief, I'll call you when finished.
Mayor, under ordinances this evening on second reading, we have 4 ordinances. Resolution 5909, introduce ordinance 09-1 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Authorize the Improvement of the Boulevard, Section 7, in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $255,000 to pay for the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of such bonds. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, January 22nd, 2009, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled "A Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Improvement of the Boulevard, Section 7, in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $255,000 to pay for the cost thereof, and to make a down payment, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of such bonds, pass on final reading."
A motion to open the meeting to the public, please?
So moved.
Mr. McLaughlin, second. Mr. Conboy? All in favor, opposed, so ordered. Anyone who wishes to be heard on this ordinance? If not, I'll close the public portion of the meeting. May I have a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Mr. McLaughlin and Mr. Conboy, discussion? I would just like to indicate to everyone here, this is a $255,000 grant that we got from the state, we received this from the state, to pave the boulevard. And as I mentioned, I believe with the first reading 2 weeks ago, we're going to be paving from just south of Route 4 to anywhere near Washington or Lincoln Avenue, wherever the funds allow us to pave. I don't have that list of streets down here. But we're going in the opposite direction because that's the worst part of the boulevard and we want to get that done. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chawinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 60-09, introduce ordinance 09-2 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park" entitled "Zoning and Site Planning Review" by deleting Section 34-58.3N and replacing it with a new Section 34-58.3N. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, January 22nd, 2009, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park" entitled "Zoning and Site Planning Review" be deleted, in deleting Section 34-58.3N and replacing it with a new Section 34-58.3N, pass on final reading.
May I have a motion open to the public, please?
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, Mr. McLaughlin, discussion? Excuse me, no discussion. Anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this? Mr. Giblin, as our attorney, would you just give a brief review of this ordinance since it pertains to you?
Yes, Mayor, this is an ordinance that just changes the penalties associated with having a building or a room or an apartment that doesn't have a certificate of occupancy. So it provides that the maximum fine is $2,000 per day for a violation.
We had a $7,000 fine on that, and Mr. Giblin went to court, and the state preempted us, and they have a $2,000 maximum, and that's as far as we can go. So we had to reduce it to $2,000, which is not something we wanted to do since illegal apartments sometimes go for $1,500 or more. And we wanted to make it as high as possible so that there wouldn't be any recidivism, so to speak. May I have a motion?
No, we
Call the roll, please. Any comment by the council?
Mayor, we need a motion in a second.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Castiglia and Mr. Chewinski. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Council members: Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chewinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 61-09, introduce ordinance 09-3 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park" entitled Housing by deleting section 11-4.6 and replacing it with a new section 11-4.6. And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, January 22nd, 2009, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same, now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance to Amend the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park" entitled Housing by deleting section 11.4-6 and replacing it with a new section 11-4.6 be passed on final reading.
May I have a motion open to the public? Mr. Vocino?
Second.
Second, Mr. Chewinski. Discussion? No discussion. Anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this? Close the public portion. May I have a motion to adopt, please? Mr. Vocino and Mr. Conboy, discussion? Mr. Giblin, would you further explain
Yes,
this
Mayor,
one?
this ordinance similarly reduces the penalty that had been imposed, which was, under the old ordinance, the cost of educating a child in the school system to a fixed dollar amount of $2,000 for having an illegal apartment.
Mayor?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
How old was that old ordinance?
I don't know.
About 4 years old, I think.
Yeah, it went back a ways. I'm not sure exactly how far back it was, but it was...
Yeah, about 4 years old, maybe 5 years old.
I don't remember when it was made.
It had nothing to do with Mr. Giblin. He went in and tried to fight it with the best ammunition we had, and the state trumped us, so to speak. What this ordinance and the other ordinance does is, although it reduces it from a $7,000 fine to a $2,000 fine, we can go in the next day, if that person's still there, we fine him $2,000, we go back the next day, he's still there, it's $2,000, and we can continually do that. And also, the landlord, if I'm correct, Mr. Giblin, must pay for the removal of the individual and finding a place for him to live, or her?
Yes, if I may, Mayor, the landlord is obligated to pay the relocation costs of any tenant that was living there illegally, and is also obligated to repay every bit of rent that was paid since the illegal tenancy was started.
To the
tenant.
Okay. Wow. And then they pay for it if there are any children going to the school, right?
The school can enforce that, yes.
All right. Any comments, any other comments? By the way, anyone listening or here knows of any illegal apartment, please call my office. Call the building inspector. We'll go out. That's where we get all our information from. Your name will not be included in the information you give us, but you're our eyes and ears in the community, and we'd love to hear from you and get some of these illegals out. Not only the fact that they're cheating on everybody else by having someone illegally there and not paying tax for it, but it's a safety issue. It's amazing. Some of these people allow people to stay into their units. Mr. Chewinski had the occasion just last week to go in and find somebody who was illegal with electrical problems and heating problems and everything else. So please stay with us, help us out. We've caught a lot of people, and they do go to court and they pay the fine. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members: Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chewinski?
Yes.
Valentino? Yes. Motion carries. Resolution 6209, introduce ordinance 09-4 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance Granting Municipal Consent for the Operation of a Cable System Within the Borough of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, to Cablevision of Oakland, LLC." And whereas said ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, January 22nd, 2009, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance Granting Municipal Consent for the Operation of a Cable System Within the Borough of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, to Cablevision of Oakland, LLC, pass on final reading.
Motion open to the public, please.
So moved.
Chewinski and Conboy, discussion? I know discussion again, I'm sorry. Anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard? I'll close the public portion. Another motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Mr. Conboy, and Mr. Castiglia, any discussion? As we indicated last week, the schools can use this program, and Cablevision will help them establish a program or a club of some sort to help out. There will be, by state law, a reduction for senior citizens. And I see a representative of Cablevision here in the audience today, and I just want everyone here to know that every member of this council, myself, the attorney, Mr. Casmo, tried vigorously to get the whole town excused from paying. And we weren't successful, right? Yeah. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members, Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chewinski?
Yes.
Valentino? Motion carries.
Now that that's passed, maybe we can get an evening session for this TV and with your help. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, tonight under resolutions, we have Resolution 63-09, whereas it is desirous of Patrolman Paul Vandermeed to retire from the Borough of Elmwood Park Police Department on March 31st, 2009, and whereas under the present PBA Local 185 contract, Patrolman Paul Vandermeed is entitled to $77,437.65, which includes accrued vacation, sick, and terminal pay. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that the Mayor and Council accept Mr. Vandermeed's retirement, and all such compensation shall be paid, approved for payment through the payroll office.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Chewinski, second.
Second.
Castiglia, discussion? I would just like to indicate that although it's part of the ordinance, it's $77,000, there are 4 months of pay. It's terminal leave that the police have. They can accrue their certain amount of sick days and vacation days up to a year, possibly 2 years. So that's all included, and they're retiring at a hefty salary, and that's what it comes out to. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chewinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 6409, whereas it is desirous of Sergeant Paul Young to retire from the Borough of Elmwood Park Police Department on March 31st, 2009, and whereas, under the present PBA contract, Local 185, Sergeant Paul Young is entitled to $127,202.21, which includes accrued vacation, sick, and terminal pay. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that the Mayor and Council accept Mr. Young's retirement, and all such compensation shall be paid, approved for payment through the payroll office.
Motion, please. Mr. Castiglia? Second, Mr. Conboy. Any discussion? Some of these items have been reduced for newly hired police officers, so we're trying to work on getting the vacation, accrued vacation down, sick down, and terminal leave with any new hire. Terminal leave with some of the officers who have been here for over 25 years, just their terminal pay is about $44,000 for 4 months. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chewinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 6509, whereas it is desirous of Lieutenant Bruce Hogan to retire from the Borough of Elmwood Park Police Department on January 31st, 2009, and whereas under the present PBA contract, Local 185, Lieutenant Bruce Hogan is entitled to $88,855.86, which includes accrued vacation, sick, and terminal pay. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that the Mayor and Council accept Mr. Hogan's retirement, and all such compensation shall be paid, approved for payment through the payroll office.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Vocino, do you need that? Mr. Vocino and Mr. Conboy, discussion?
Mayor, just a word is that these three officers together have probably 80 or 85 years of service, and they were at their highest pay scale. And eventually, when we do hire 3 new hires, we would make up quite a bit of this money in the first 2 or 3 years. it sounds like a lot going out, but we're also getting new hires coming in at much lesser pay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Before I forget, I would just like to thank and congratulate these three officers for their service to our community and wish them good luck in their retirement. Call the roll, please.
Council members, Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Valentino? Motion carries. Resolution 66-09, whereas Patrick J. Conti did deposit $750 as a road opening performance cash bond on April 21st, 2008 to install a dry well at 274 Market Street, and whereas the Department of Public Works has reported that upon inspection, all work has been satisfactorily restored at said location. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the road opening cash bonds be refunded in full to Patrick J. Conti Funeral Home Incorporated, 274 Market Street, Elmwood Park, New Jersey.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Truinsky, second. Mr. Castiglia, discussion? Call the
Yeah,
roll.
Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Just to make a note that Mr. Conti did this out of his own pocket. It was our road, but he did the drainage to help out the town.
Thank
And I'd
you.
like to thank him on that.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Council members, Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 67-09, whereas in accordance with NJAC 17.27-3.2, each public agency shall designate an individual to serve as its Public Compliance Officer, PACO, which serves as a liaison between the Department of the Treasury, Division of Public Contracts, Equal Employment Opportunity, and the Borough. And whereas the PACO serves as the public agency's point of contact for all matters concerning implementation and administration of the above-referenced statute. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey hereby appoints Keith Casmark, Borough Clerk, as the borough's PACO officer for the calendar year 2009.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Truinsky, Mr. Conboy, discussion? Thank you, Keith. Call the roll.
Council members, Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 68-09, whereas there has arisen a need in the building department for a temporary full-time technical assistant during the absence of two technical assistants due to maternity leave, and whereas Trish Yanucci has been interviewed and found to have the experience and qualifications to fill said position, whereas the mayor and council wish to appoint Trish Yanucci of Norwood, New Jersey. Now therefore be it resolved that the said remuneration shall be $25 per hour effective Tuesday, February 24th, 2009 through the return of the technical assistant staff.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr.
I second.
Catamanian, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Castiglia, discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Mayor, I know it's after the fact, but some people are a little bewildered what happened there. Can you just explain it?
Yes, it's simply that, as Mr. Casmark indicated in the reading of the first whereas, both young ladies are taking maternity leave, and I think they'll be in a hospital about the same week, within a couple days.
Replacing.
So there are other women who are literally afraid to go into that office. So, and we appreciate the help that they've been giving us, and we wish them well when they take their leave.
Resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Truinsky.
Sorry. Resolution 69-09. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following change order number 1 is hereby approved. Contractor is Zaccaro and Sons of Garfield, New Jersey. Contract number EP 1091. Project DPW Salt Storage Facility. Original contract bid price, $277,345. Total of previous change orders is 0. Current change order is $4,000. Total contract cost, including this change order, is $281,345.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Castiglia, Mr. Jaworski, discussion? Call the roll.
Council members Catamania?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Truinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 70-09. Whereas personnel and personnel-related costs make up approximately 70% plus of municipal budgets, and whereas binding interest arbitration has been a principal reason for the increase in public safety salaries and therefore correlates to increased salaries for all public employees, and whereas there is a strong connection between current binding arbitration awards and the overwhelming property tax burden on the residents of New Jersey, And whereas an amendment of binding interest arbitration laws to mandate greater emphasis on the municipality's ability to pay and the impact on the tax-paying public would help to level the playing field and lessen the impact upon residents. And now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, hereby acknowledges the legislature and governor to amend the current binding interest arbitration laws to provide municipalities with a fair and more appropriate process. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Governor John Corzine, the legislatures in the 38th District, municipalities of Bergen County, and the New Jersey League of Municipalities.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. McLaughlin, second by Mr. Conboy. Discussion? This resolution may seem inappropriate at the time when we just honored two police officers, but this is for binding arbitration for police salaries. Please keep in mind that we certainly appreciate everything that's done for us by the police department. They do their job, and we're trying to do our job. By helping to amend the law that calls for binding arbitration, which means that we meet with an arbitrator between ourselves and the police department, and he makes the decision as to what their salary is. We haven't been very fortunate in the last few years. We have a cap on. We have a 2.5% cap that we can spend over last year. If we choose, we can raise that to 3.5%. But as police salaries go higher, our cap is not keeping up with them, so that we have a choice of cutting down in other areas to continue to pay the police their salary. And if we want to add additional police, we run into an added situation where we don't have enough money to hire additional police, and their advancement in salary is quite rapid. In 10 years, they're up over $100,000. So this will give us a little bit more leverage if the arbitration law is amended. And as with all employees within our borough, we would try to be fair and handle the salary ordinance as fair as possible. We just like to do that because it's not fair to some of the other employees who aren't governed by arbitration, and after mutual agreement, they get the salary, but it's not up near 4%. Call a roll, please.
On roll call, council members Katamanya?
Yes.
Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chouinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 71-09.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Whereas balances exist within the current Fund 2008 appropriations entitled Trunk Sewage, and whereas Markel in 2008 filed bankruptcy and the original pass-through of the sewerage bills were directly billed by Passaic Valley Sewerage Commission, and whereas the 2008 appropriations are to be canceled, whereas the 2008 appropriations to be canceled are $839,640.28. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following 2008 current fund appropriation line item trunk sewer bill budget balance be canceled as of December 31st, 2008.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. McLaughlin, second. Mr. Vocino. Discussion, call a roll.
Council members Katamanya?
Yes.
Chouinski? Castiglia?
Yes.
Conboy?
Yes.
McLaughlin?
Yes.
Chouinski?
Yes.
Valentino?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Committee reports, Mr. Caravagna?
Yeah, just like to congratulate the police and for the wonderful job they've been doing, and for keep our borough safe. Congratulations to all of them.
Thank you. Mr. Chouinski?
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations to the police for the fine work they did, and also to the few who retired. On another note, I haven't heard anything new from the Board of Ed about the property, although I did run into Mr. DiMatteo, and he said he will be getting in touch with us and the council. He's in charge of their selling that land or whatever they're going to do with that at this time. He has his own committee, so the Board of Ed will be meeting with us.
Thank you.
So Monday, I spoke up with, left a call for Bob Gordon's aide, and I spoke with him on Tuesday, and I spoke with Senator Gordon on Wednesday about two things, about the DEP permit fees that towns have been paying, that we paid $6,000 to clean our own brook, and I'm going to sit down with him probably next week personally. He's going to try and craft a bill to bring to the floor, or to get to the House to bring to the floor, that we can do something about these exuberant fees that are charged to the towns. On another note, he will try and help us with the county park. He said he would send a letter on our behalf. I spoke to him extensively about that and how we were getting railroaded on that, Mayor, and his sympathy is with us, and he does have some connections with the county board still, so.
I would hope so. I hope you could help us out.
And one more thing, the soil ordinance is forthcoming. I understood they ironed out the minor details with the planning board, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
That will be approved next Wednesday at the planning board, and it should be on our agenda at the next public meeting, first reading.
Okay.
Mr. Castiglia?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I want to congratulate the officers also. I saw those pictures in the newspaper too, of that car. That was unbelievable. The mayor mentioned before the cable company. We have the new contract with the cable company. There's a senior discount. People seem to believe that it came from the cable company. It was like a blanket discount. There is an office in Trenton that's handling that goes through the state. I have a phone, the mayor mentioned it before. I got a phone number here. It's 609-292-6748. That's the office you want to call down in Trenton. There's a website also and a mailing address. Maybe we can post it on the bulletin board out here or something for seniors that are interested in trying to get that discount. I think it's about 10% off your bill. I'm not really too sure. Another thing, we were talking about the police department an awful lot tonight. I like to bring this up once in a while. The fire department. We went to the installation ceremony last week, and that reminded me again. They used to have a boot drive, and it was a large part of their revenue every year, and for certain reasons, legal reasons, insurance reasons, they can't be doing that now. So they tried a coin toss this past summer, I think twice. It didn't get near making up for what they're losing from the boot drive. So when you see these firemen come around to your house, or you hear that something is going on, to bring some money into the fire department, you know, or reach in a little deeper, try to do what you can do, because this is vital that we keep them going, you know. And I think that's it, Mayor. Let me just take a quick look.
Kip Avenue?
Yeah, Kip Avenue, that's it. The engineering is done on Kip Avenue. It's going to be repaved from River Drive up to, I believe, Ann Street.
Close.
And it should be going out for bids next week. And that's it.
Thank you. If I can comment on one item, and I appreciate you mentioned about the fire department. If you're thinking, if the fire department is not getting the donations needed to support their building, they own the firehouses, and the council and the borough should pay for that. That again falls within the cap, so that the council is limited about how much money they can support some of these other items and keep everything going. So they operate just like the ambulance corps on donations, and we'd appreciate, we help them out, obviously, but if you can help them out a little bit more, they put a lot of time into it. Thank you. Mr. Vocino?
Yes. Okay, first I'd like to express my thanks and appreciation to the Elmwood Park Police Department and Officers Giacomoro and Prelic for their dedication and call to duty in the service of the residents of Elmwood Park, and also extend wishes to the 3 officers who are retiring. The homeowners meeting for January was canceled due to the weather. Their next meeting will be Wednesday, February 25th at 7:30 in the multipurpose room. The next Board of Health meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 9th. As part of a recent budget meeting, Deborah Ritchie and Jack Coyne provided a thorough review of their operations, primarily for my benefit as their liaison. So I appreciate that. Next ambulance corps meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, and their dinner dance is going to be held on Friday, February 13th. And finally, building and grounds, Scott reported that all the holiday decorations have been stored away in the municipal building.
Thank you. Mr. Conboy?
I too would like to congratulate the 2 officers that we presented certificates with tonight. I want to thank them for their dedication to the people of Elmwood Park. I want to thank the chief and all his officers, his commanders, for putting together the presentation they gave tonight, and for the report that they give to us every year, the annual report. I want to thank them for putting that together. And also want to congratulate the 3 officers leaving the borough and thank them for all their years of service and for all the time they put in protecting all of us throughout their career. I'd also like to thank the fire department for inviting us to their installation beefsteak. It was a nice time, and I want to congratulate them all on a great upcoming year, and also wish them all, thank them for everything they do for the borough, and wish them a lot of safety when they're out there out on the fires. And I think we should also thank the Marcalis family. Even though they're not involved with Marcal any longer, they still have properties among the borough, and they did come, and even though it wasn't expected, but they did provide a nice donation to the fire department to offset their costs for the evening, so I want to thank them as well for their commitment to the borough. Talking about budgets, we are now deep into it. Our CFO is sitting there in the back. He's here for another meeting after this. After this meeting's over, we're meeting with the police department tonight to go over their budget. We've already met with our building department, our tax department, and our Board of Health, as Councilman Lonsino mentioned. That is an ongoing process and will continue to be as we move along, and expect the news that we'll get from the governor's office down throughout the process. Board of Rec, next week is the senior prom on the 11th. From my understanding today, we're getting a very big response from our seniors, our 55 and above, that are attending that senior prom night at the Recreation Center. A great evening is planned. So if anybody else is planning on going, please give the call to the Recreation. A nice, like I said, nice evening is planned, and they're getting an overwhelming response from our community. So everyone come on out for that senior prom that night, our 55 and older. Also want to congratulate our director and her staff. About 2 weeks ago at the annual Football Bombers dinner, they were given a plaque for their outstanding support of the Bomber program this year and for all their cooperation from the Recreation. And very nice plaque was provided to our director and her staff. Congratulate them on that. Again, we're going to our Rec Commission. Our Rec Commission met last week in a special session to go over the upcoming plans and discussions of what we can achieve over a time period to make improvements to English Ave. This would not, right now they're kind of taking baby steps, I guess you'd say. We have to be careful with our own budget, cap restrictions and so forth, and what we want to try to achieve there. So they're going to look at all avenues of improvement. They've scheduled another meeting for next month with our head of Department of Public Works, Scott Cars, and they've also asked our engineer to attend as well to see what kind of things we can do among ourselves and at no cost to the borough, as much as they can there. Also, as we mentioned before, we went to the freeholders meeting last month, and I haven't gotten any response from the letters I sent. I don't know. I know the mayor's reached out to the executive as well, but we'll have to keep on them as well. I know the Rec Commissioners would like to attend the next freeholders meeting if that's doable. Also, I'd like to congratulate our high school basketball team in the first round of the county jamboree. Councilman Castiglia and I went. When we walked in, they were down by a few baskets, and when we left, they were up by 15.
It was us.
So, Larry, we may have to go to the Teaneck game this weekend. So come on out and root those guys on. They have a tough second round game. I think Teaneck is the second seed, so support them every chance you get. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. McLaughlin?
Thank you, Tom. And the Joint Insurance Fund, we received a check for $50,000, less $1,000 deductible. As you know, our communications tower on Gilbert Avenue was struck by a falling tree, and that is a partial payment for complete damage. We don't know the cost as yet, but it should be completed within a week or so. And meanwhile, we're using a temporary hookup for our communications. I'd also like to thank the police department for their budget presentation. They are doing an extraordinary job with Don as their chief and John, deputy chief. Their budget is always under control, and they're trying harder to reduce. We are down to zero comp time, which has been a big headache for us for many, many years. We appreciate that very much. We'll learn more about their budget after this meeting. And thank you again for the fire department's beefsteak, their annual beefsteak. And as the council, or Mr. Chewinski proposed, that we must support them. You know, they cannot go on dollar donations anymore. They're volunteers, and they put in a tremendous amount of hours. They do a lot of hours just in their training sessions. It comes to about 40 or 48 hours. And we need them desperately. We can never go to a paid department. Thank you very much for having me, Mayor.
Thank you.
And also, I'd like to remember too that, as Tom brought up, the freeholder for the Parks Department, we are still trying to get our passive park going, and hopefully we can get as many people as possible to either write to the freeholders or attend the meeting is even better. When they see a crowd, they get a little nervous, as we do when we see a crowd. We wonder what's going on. But it would help tremendously to get them started. For some reason, the rest of Bergen County is receiving monies for parks, tremendous amounts of monies, where ours only needs path walkways. We do not need equipment, and it should be at a very minimum cost. There's no reason for the delay. Hopefully, we can get them off their tail and get going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Giblin.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. I have a couple things that I'd like to repeat. The park situation, as was indicated, we keep going to the county. They keep looking at us like Mount Rushmore, and we get nothing done. So please contact any of the freeholders. I did write my letter to the executive indicating we would like something there, and quite frankly, if they don't want to do it and they want to give us the land, we'll take it on and we'll finish it over a period of time to make it a park. But it's just, it's almost like it's Elmwood Park, forget about it, we don't have to do it. It's not fair to the residents.
Mayor?
Yes.
Should tell them the date the next county meeting is.
The county meets on the first and third Wednesdays of every month, so if anybody wishes to attend the meeting, we'd appreciate that. The good thing the county did, I called up a while back, there's a guardrail that's at the corner of River Drive and River Road. As you're going south on River Road, it is destroyed about twice a year. Some car will skid off that, making the turn to continue, possibly come into this building, and the guardrail is damaged and, as I said, destroyed. I saw them of all days there today, the coldest day. They were taking that destroyed railing out and putting a new one in, so that's fixed. And I also asked them to put a sign up to indicate that it's a serious curve over there to slow down, so maybe that will help a little bit. I mentioned at the last meeting that Passaic Valley Sewer Authority, River Restoration, is buying a street sweeper that they will allow us to use on a weekly basis to facilitate additional street sweeping. The Market Street Boulevard intersection is going to be funded by the county. Tell you how long that was. I helped introduce that bill when as a freeholder, and that's about 6 years ago, and we're still working on it. But that's going to be done. Our engineer is working on the plans for that. Park and ride for the commuters here off River Road. I call them every week, and we seem to be moving on it. Now the federal government's involved, but I think we're going to get through that, and they will have their plans ready to go shortly. I do want to remind everybody, it's still winter time, we still expect snow. Please, it's a $50 fine if you have your car on the road when it's snow covered. So please help the DPW in their plowing job to get your car off the road so they can plow as best they can. If you're using a snow blower, please do not blow the snow into the street after the plows go by. That just makes it more slippery, and then we have to come down and salt, etc. And if it's possible, I've gotten some complaints that the plows come by and plow the snow up on your sidewalk after you've shoveled. We haven't given a ticket out in years that, a half hour, 2 hours, 3 hours after it snows, they come and give you a ticket out. You have 48 hours to shovel your sidewalk. Don't shovel your sidewalk till the plow passes and does your street. Do yourself a favor and help the DPW out. The railroad crossing on Route 4, where the pedestrians cross Route 4 at the railroad crossing just as you're going into Fairlawn. I received a phone call yesterday, and this coming spring they will be putting up a strobe light, one of those flashing lights, and a big strong light, and mark off some crossing lines so that pedestrians who park in our parking lot, the park and ride for the railroad, they have to cross Route 4 They do with the traffic coming by, so this should help us, and that's going to be done this spring. They have things ready to go on that. You heard at the last public meeting that we do have some boxcars stored on the tracks here in Elmwood Park. I think the whole council was misinformed when they de-accessed the lines on Route 46 and on the boulevard. That simply meant that cars going through there, buses and trucks mostly, don't have to stop at those railroad crossings because trains do not travel there. Well, they still have the lines, they still have access to the lines. They're now storing cars on those lines, boxcars, across Route 46, and they have the legal ability to do that. I called the president of the Susquehanna Railroad. He returned my call and indicated that the cars are there because of the economy. They don't have a place to store the cars. They're not being used on a daily basis. And he said, if you want to see a lot more cars, just come into New York State, and they have them on all their sidings up there. The cars are not being used. They have no place to store them. It's a federal regulated railroad, and they are allowed to do that. If what you see on any of those cars, railroad, the box cars, something about hazardous waste written on the car, they are used for hazardous material, as the letter tells me from the president of the company. As I noted, our conversation currently has gondolas, instead of boxcars, in this area that are used to transport non-hazardous contaminated soil. Non-hazardous contaminated soil. It's like an oxymoron. From the New Jersey cleanup sites to out of state. The procedure for loading these cars is to fill them up with a heavy, impervious, tarp-like material that meets government regulations. They pour the dirt in the material and then they just hoist that out so that when the car sits here, it's not being, doesn't have any contaminated soil in it. But I'm sorry to tell you that. They're going to stay here. And I've written to everybody and it looks like they're going to stay. I asked them to park on the other side of Market Street where there's industry and not homes, and they said they would try to comply with that. I hope so. I have another letter from Stephen Diltz, who is the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. This came in just 2 days ago about the sound barriers. I think I told everyone at the council meeting that we applied for the stimulus package. If the state gets anything from the stimulus package, can we get sound barriers? And this is a letter reacting to that, saying if they get the money, they will think about it. I guess they have who knows how much. We're also putting in for the stimulus package through our borough engineer. I think I've said enough. But we're continually trying to get some money to do these things and to help out in any way with the budget. It's going to be tough. Everything's being cut back. We have no idea what the state's going to help us on, if they can help us, how much they're cutting back on the schools. So it's going to be a very interesting session with the budget. I'd like to open the meeting to the public at this point. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second?
Moved by Mr. Castiglia, second by Mr. Conboy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Just one last thing before I do open it. For the residents who may be watching, we spoke with our chief financial officer, who is in charge of the water department. We had 1 or 2 people leave or retire from our water department, tax office. So what we're requesting is that you pay your water bills by mailing them in. You get an envelope with it. You can mail it into the water department of Passaic Valley Water Commission. You can do that online. You can do it on the telephone. Just give them your credit card number. They can handle it that way, or they're only located on Main Street in Clifton if you want to drive there. By doing this, we are saving the salary of one of our employees. That's number one. And if you think we're picking on you, presently about 70% of the people who pay their water bills pay it through mail or one of the ways I just mentioned. Only about 30% actually come to this municipal building and pay their water bill. So as of April 1st, they will not be collecting the water bills. You'll have to mail it in. So please help us out on that. It's a fiscal problem. It helps us with our budget, and it reduces some of the work in that office. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard? We talked you to death, right? May I have a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Vasino and
Second.
Mr. Truinski. Any discussion? You want to just stay out here?
We have a meeting in the conference room.
Mr. Kazmark has to read that now.
Mayor, just for the record, we do not have to go into executive session in the back, but we are going to go into the back for a duly advertised special budget meeting relating to the police department.
Okay? We have the motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Thank you for attending, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate it.